This video is a replay of a trade I took today. Now, it probably goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway. I am not a financial advisor, and trading entails risk. Just because I got these results today doesn't mean that I can get these every day, nor that you can. Remember, the entire premise of the investing project and the $1 million experiment is that I am not an expert, and yet I am learning how to do this. So for heaven's sake, don't just blindly copy me. Instead, find a mentor, someone who is an expert, and join their community. Pay for their mentorship. This approach has worked very well for me, and it likely will for you too. So use this video partly as education and partly as inspiration. After all, if I can learn this, you can too.
Oh, right. So I'm recording this over the weekend, but this was Friday's trades. And Friday opened with a whole bunch of sell-off. You can see a bunch of red that had happened in the overnight session. Again, this is probably news-related, having to do with the Strait of Hormuz, etc. But it opens up very, very low. And you can see already with the NQ, it's already down at its average true range low, and that's just all in the pre-market. So, and in fact, the ES is even below that. So I'm already thinking, well, we're probably due for a rebound of some sort, which is actually the reason why I ended up getting into a couple of longs very early. Normally, I don't trade the first 15 minutes. I got into these at 2 minutes after the market opened. So what I'm going to do here is on the YM, and here's the important thing. I wasn't entirely convinced that we weren't going to go lower, because I don't like to trade the first 15 minutes. I don't really have any idea of what the market's going to do really during that first period of time. So instead of taking my full size of 6 contracts on a legit setup, I only took 2 contracts. But I did that both with the YM, and then about 9 minutes or 7 minutes later, I did that on the 2K on the Russell. So I'm going to go ahead and put these trades in so I don't miss them. The first one was 52,325. So where's that? This is 331, 325. That's where I got in with that one, and that I got in at 6:32 Pacific, so 2 minutes after market opened. And then for the Russell, for the M2K, I got in at 2959.4, which is, about there. It's 0.3. Move it up to 0.4. Come on now. There you go. Now, I didn't get in until 9 minutes after market open for that one. So it might trigger earlier as I'm playing this back, but I got in at 6:39. So I'm going to go ahead and play this, and we can watch what happened. Essentially, actually, let me slow it down a little bit to say 30 times speed. So the market's just opened, and you can see it kind of trying to figure out what it wants to do. Is it going lower? Is it not going lower? And so it's thinking about that. Right now it's 6:30, coming up to 6:30 and a half. Let me speed this up a little bit. So still, as you can see, it's still going a bit lower, but we're going to start to see. So what I'm doing at this point is I said, all right, I expect, this is quite a steep pullback. I expect a rubber band like snap forward. Actually, in retrospect, this NQ trade would have been a great one to get in, because you get the first little bit of a green bar. But you know what? At the time, I didn't know that, and this was, in hindsight, this is obvious. But I'm talking about what I actually did in the moment, and that was, I said, okay, I'm going to put a buy order just above this series of wicks, so that if it comes up and it breaks up above this, I'll be in, and I won't have missed it, because especially the YM, it just takes off, and if you're not in it, you've missed it. Similar idea here with Russell. I put it just it wasn't quite above all of them, but this was sort of a descending number of wicks. I decided to put that there, and I would, if it went lower and lower, I would move the buy down. And so let's let this play here. It's 6:31, and I'm going to speed this up now to full speed. And any minute now,
Order fell.
we get the first one that triggers. Now I'm only in 2 contracts at this point, and so I'm moving my stop down to below this. So that ends up, not quite doubling the amount of risk I would normally take, but I'm only on 2 contracts. And so I figured, all right, I'm going to take that chance. Right now it's only 6:34, so I haven't yet entered the Russell. So this is my thinking. And it's still, even at this point, it's not completely obvious that we are in fact going to turn around. I'll let this play for a second. All right, we've finally gotten into green. And you can see what's going on up here in the NQ and on the ES. It actually wasn't ready yet. I said this would be a great spot. It wouldn't necessarily, but it was still hadn't quite figured out what it's doing. Meanwhile, the YM seems to think, yeah, this is great. we're going to town. So what's interesting here is this immediately, once it reached 100 points in the right direction, pulled this stop to even and started to trail. And so that was good. Same thing is about to happen on the Russell. Now, right around this point, I'm thinking, darn it, I wish I'd been full size, of course, but I didn't know it at the time, and I had to take too much risk in order to get the trade on. So, really no regrets. So now it's hit the first target. That is at 200 points. So on one contract, that's $100. Is that right? $100. And this is proceeding right up, and it's in a moment going to hit target number 2 here, which is another 150 on top of it. So I ended up with $250 on the YM in pretty short order. It's only 6:42 right now. Actually, we're not quite there yet, but we will be shortly. What's interesting is, if I don't normally trade the first 15 minutes, which I don't, I would have missed this entire move. And that's the reason why I said, look, it's got enough of a pullback. I'm gonna jump in. No. All right. So at 6:45, where I normally would start to get into trades, I've got a complete trade and a perfect trade as far as my bracket goes. So that's $250 on a full size. That would have been a $750 position. But anyway, so it's $250. And now it's all down to the Russell. We'll just keep an eye on that and see how it's doing. Okay, we're about to get our first target triggered. Yeah. So there's the first one. And I remember thinking at the time, wouldn't it be nice to have 2 perfect trades to end the week with? And indeed, that's what we ended up with. Would have been even nicer, like I said, if they were full size. But like I said, you can't have everything. Really, I could have had a full size trade on the Russell with respect to the size, the amount of risk, because 100 handles would have put it right down to the very bottom. So that was technically available, but with that in mind, I already had the YM on, so I didn't want to get into a situation where being too greedy and have the thing snap back. I also didn't want to end the month with an irresponsible loss in the very last day. That wouldn't have made me happy either. So right around this point, I see what we have 3 minutes left. So what I would have been doing, and what I did do, is trail the second contract to the low end of the preceding 15 minutes. So as soon as this 15-minute bar closes, it will momentarily, I move this up to here, and now I'm just making sure that I'm not giving back everything should the thing fall apart. You never know, right? And there's an argument to be made to actually following it with the 5-minute, but that just, that tightens it up. It means you don't risk losing as much, but it also increases the likelihood that you'll be stopped out. So at this point, you can see that the NQ and the ES are really starting to take off now. So there's no reason to believe we're not just all going to float higher for a while. So this is a case of just leave it alone, let it do its thing.
Target found.
There we are. So there you go. Two perfect trades to end the week, to end the month. And so that was a two by $250, so a $500 day. And there we go.